Hey everyone, I just want to go over my top 10 picks of the best releases this year. I'm going to give honorable mentions to ones I haven't gotten around to that would probably be in I'd probably have to make a top 20 to be honest. I will get to those eventually though. I didn't play Jedi Survivor yet, which I'm sure is pretty good. Fallen Order was good. Street Fighter 6 I gotta play, Mortal Kombat 1. Not a huge fighting game fan. I do like playing through the campaigns, especially Street Fighter 6 looked like it was tons of fun. Fighters are just never on the priority. I usually pick them up later when they're on sale and give them a playthrough then. Though I want to get back into them more because I'm setting up my arcade cabinet, which will be a video coming up. And I'm going to have actual arcade sticks, so that'll be a lot of fun. I didn't play Diablo 4. I know it had a rough start, but people say it's pretty good now, I guess. Layers of Fear. I wanted to play the remake. I have it, just haven't got around to it. There's just so many good games this year. The Front Mission remake, Armored Core, they're different games, but mech combat. One's more strategy, the other one's more action oriented. Armored Core though, From Software has been killing it, so I'm sure Armored Core is amazing. I need to play that one. I didn't get the Metal Gear collection. I have the PS3 version of the same collection. I love those games and I'm excited for Metal Gear 3. I might get the collection eventually. It just seems like the most basic improvement over the last collection. And Alan Wake 2. I haven't played Alan Wake 2. I hear it's amazing. And I also forgot Super Mario RPG. That's of course goes along with I didn't get any Switch games this year. I'll get them eventually. Here are my top 10 favorites this year.
Well done, 47.
So overall, this one might be higher up, but it's kind of like a DLC/upgrade. I'm going with Hitman World of Assassination. It was free DLC. I didn't play any of the 3 games, and they upgraded them all to the technology of the 3rd game. I've been playing through it. I'm almost done with the 1st game. Done some of the missions in the 2nd and 3rd one. I'm a completionist, so taking me some time because I've been working through all the achievements, but having a blast playing through it. Finding the different ways you can finish missions is always fun, and trying to get the best score. And if you have friends that play it, you can send them assassination tries and try to outdo each other.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you.
One of the best games of 2 generations ago. It only came out 10 years ago though, so I'd rate it higher. It just came out 10 years ago, so it's kind of early for a remake. They obviously were capitalizing on the show coming out, and the show was great. Game's still great. It brings some of the mechanics and features from the 2nd game, improves the graphics. It still doesn't look as good or feel as good as the 2nd game. It did definitely modernize it because the first one's a little clunky. This definitely helped it. It's not a complete overhaul though. If it's a complete overhaul, it might have been higher. A great playthrough. So this next one, I loved the Friday the 13th game for all of its flaws. I had a blast playing with my friends. TCM hasn't lived up to that, but I'm putting it here because I hope it gets there. If you get a good group, it can be a blast. There's just a lot of issues with it, but I think they're going to work it out, and I hope it sticks around. I think multiplayer horror games can be a lot of fun. I don't really love Dead by Daylight, so I'm hoping there's just something that really... They're definitely going to support the game. This is more of... It's got its place here because of what I think it can become, but we'll see. Next up, we got Sea of Stars. It was an indie RPG. I was a big fan of The Messenger. Ironically, I played Sea of Stars before The Messenger, and it takes place chronologically before. After I beat Sea of Stars, I had a good time with it. Had to go play The Messenger. I actually probably like The Messenger. I love RPGs, but I probably like The Messenger better. I just really liked how you went between 8 and 16-bit. Sea of Stars I thought was fun, but I don't know, it was just missing something for me. It was good, it just wasn't amazing. The combat was fun, had some interesting segments, but it's like a 7 out of 10 for me. And again, that's why I know if I played some of the games listed in honorable mentions that a lot of these would be knocked right out. So I just wish I had more time to play everything. Next up, I got Sons of the Forest. I'm pretty sure it's fully out, but even if it's not, you can finish it. It's fun to play with your friends. We had a good time, and I beat the game with my friends. I also played it solo and just built structures and defended myself from the mutants, and just loved exploring the island. It's always a good time finding new things and constantly updating it, changing things. So every couple months, I just go back in and see what's new, and it's always fun. I think it's better, though, if you play with friends, though. Just exploring the caves and getting lost. Next up, we got Final Fantasy 16. I think it's one of the better entries in Final Fantasy mainline in a while. I could argue it's probably the best one since maybe like 10. I'm replaying 12. 12 I have to reevaluate because I didn't really give it much of a shot. I just played through it once when it came out. And I haven't played 15 yet, admittedly. So I played 16 before I played 15. I have to go back to 15, but I know it was very polarizing. 16 started off really strong. It has some really cool moments, but it does kind of fall off towards the end. I think it's really good to play. I haven't tried the DLC yet, but I want to check that out. I know some people didn't like the combat, but I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake had great combat, and I think that's kind of the way they have to go to appeal to a wider audience. And there'll be turn-based indie games for you people out there, and Baldur's Gate's a different kind of turn-based, but it's definitely there. Next up is a Dead Space remake. Huge fan of the first game, the first trilogy. I mean, the third one's not as good as the other two, but I even still like the third one. I played it through with a good friend of mine. We had a good time with it. It was one of the first campaigns I think I played through PS3 on the PSN, so that was an interesting experience. We had a good time. Forget what we chatted over because Discord wasn't around then, so I don't know if we're still using like TeamSpeak or something, but we figured it out. Dead Space 1, it sticks to the same story, adds some elements. It's cool that you can go through the whole ship instead of just going through portions. You can go through the whole thing of the Ishimura, and they recreated so many scenes really well. The graphics were great. It still had the terrifying element to it, and the necromorphs. Anyway, though, Dead Space, the remake, looks really good. It follows the story, but it gave you 2 endings. It's worth playing through twice. Awesome game. Definitely check it out. So I was a little hesitant to put this up here, but I had such a blast playing through it. I played through it both times to get all the achievements. Star Ocean, Second Story R. So yeah, Star Ocean, Second Story R. I loved it on the PS1. I mean, definitely the best Star Ocean game ever made. I don't think too many people can argue that. Maybe they can, but I never really got into too many of the other games. Second Story, though, one of my favorite games on the PS1. You can easily break the game, but it's fun just like making items, and the affection system's interesting with your different characters and how that can affect the endings. Kind of interesting. They claim there's over like 80 or 100 endings, but I mean, it's like 5-second scenes that change a little bit. Pretty much changes which characters like end up, sticking together or whatever. But it's a cool, interesting story. It's fun. It's not as long as I remembered it being, maybe because I'm better at games or it wasn't that long. So I think you can beat it in like 30 hours, especially if you play New Game Plus, you breeze right through it. You realize how short it actually is. But since you have to play it twice, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And if you want to get the multiple ending, I just did enough to get that achievement for it, and I'm good. If I want to see the other ones, I can look them up on YouTube, but they're very minor. It's tough having to pick between the different characters though, because can't get Opera if you get Ashton, and I'm a big fan of using Ashton, and you can't mix and match and make the ultimate party. I wish in New Game Plus you could, but it was awesome, and especially in the new 2D HD. It's I can't wait to see what else they make in that engine or whatever it is. Next one is Spider-Man 2. I just think Insomniac improved on everything the first game was. The first one I think there's too much filler. So yeah, Spider-Man 2, they improved on everything that the first game did well. The first one felt a little long because to get all the trophies, you had to like grind a lot of like stopping crime, and it was just like, felt like a lot of filler. So people said this game was short, but I think they just streamlined a lot of it because you didn't have to grind as much as the crime stuff. And there was really good side missions, but there wasn't as much of the filler missions. Like you didn't have to you have to stop this crime 20 times or whatever. There's nothing like that. So I think it made more sense, worked with the story more. Side fights and side missions were good. Definitely good character arc. I can't believe I can't remember his name, but the guy with his pigeons, didn't take the route I expected, the whole thing with Miles and Mysterio, the extra stuff, especially at the last mission at the end with Pete and Harry, is all really good, came together. It made a really good story. I know it was based off of, some like comic books, but I think Insomniac put together a really good story of Spider-Man and Venom. Can't wait to see where the third one goes. It's essentially been leaked that after Wolverine, Spider-Man 3 is coming, and I think they're working on another a Spider-Verse game, which could be a multiplayer game, which could be interesting. We'll see how that all goes. Spider-Man 2 was awesome. Definitely one of my favorite playthroughs of the year. And can't wait to jump back in that universe in a couple years. You know, I hate to go along with what everyone else is saying, but man, it's hard to argue the hype around it. Baldur's Gate 3 was amazing. D&D's really picked up in the past few years. I've been playing it for a long, long time. 5e got me back into it. My friends love it. Always have a few games going on weekly all the time, and we just enjoy it. And Larian made an awesome translation of it. Baldur's Gate 2 is probably top 3 favorite games of all time. I played that all the time as a kid, especially Baldur's Gate 1. I played with my dad a bunch, but 2 I definitely preferred. And one of my favorite stories overall ever. I think they did a really good sequel. I do wish it was a different name, like Baldur's Gate something of the Mind Flayer or whatever. It doesn't have to be Baldur's Gate 3, but I understand why they did it, because it's going to draw more eyes to it. Which same thing is like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance isn't the same game, but people get confused and think, oh, that was the first ones and this is the sequel. No, it's not. It's I'm glad the enhanced editions are out, because I think that helped clear that up for some people, but especially since they're called Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. But it's a great third entry. They have a lot of Easter eggs and little tidbits from the first 2 games, which is awesome. You can play it so many different ways. There's no right way to play it. I just bought it for Christmas for my dad, and he's doing things I didn't do and have never done. And, you know, he's asking me all these questions. I'm trying not to spoil anything. I'm just like, yeah, you just gotta, the best thing to do is just go into it, figure it out on your own, and just see what result you get. Just kind of like being in a D&D campaign. So they got us there. Anyway, thanks for checking out this list, and looking forward to the stuff that comes out next year. This has been one of the best years in video games, and I'm still catching up on them, obviously. Subscribe if you want to check out more. Message in the comments below what your favorite game of the year was and what your backlog looks like, because if it's anything like mine, you're going to be playing games forever. So I'm going to get work on some of those. So anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Thor out.